asking.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, not bad.
That seems to be the best.
I found myself several times, people will suggest me the suggestion that it's like the top line of the book, and I think about it, I'm like, oh, yeah. Okay. Not bad. I found myself several times in just like, you know, take out volleyball.
So, if you're working with batteries, if you think about having the car,
New ordinance is gonna be triple X.
Yeah, I did.
ordinance.
My back was in
Lynn,
front of me.
can you hear us okay?
Everybody's feeling it today. Oh, Lynn.
Yes, I can.
I can't hear you.
You're on mute.
It doesn't look like you're on mute.
Behind me. So this word is. Gosh, sorry.
Weird. Oh, did we? No, because we did check the audio, and we were hearing it earlier, and it's not muted from his end.
We can't hear you, but can you hear me? Thumbs up, maybe?
He's not even focusing on you, so it hears.
Yeah, there it is.
Okay, so we just can't hear you.
Mhm. On his end
Can be like
somehow.
a streaming. Can you write stuff and hold, you know, it could even be.
Or he can type into the comment section.
No,
maybe?
comments are turned off.
Oh,
Is the volume on the TV turned up?
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I know, but
Yeah.
right there with me.
Mhm.
Is the chat window if he needs to type out the
Let
question?
me try it here.
No. I like to be
No.
right behind Bobby in case she gets. Yeah.
Dangerous.
Yeah.
Okay, well.
Next.
See if this goes. So the volume is working.
Heard something.
All right.
Okay, it's all yours.
Do I need to call this into order?
Yes, you do.
Okay.
Yes, please.
What is it, December 2nd meeting of the Parks and Commons Commission. This is a work session right now, and then an hour from now, we'll go over to the other room and have a regular scheduled meeting. For now, we'll just do a quick roll call. Sorry, George.
George Drew, present.
Adam Walton.
Ron Simons.
John Praval.
Dan Wright.
We have a few people in the audience.
Rosa Marshall. Bob Rice.
Okay.
Gang's all here.
So we'll start with our main goal for this session is to discuss the potential change in our commission to a community spaces committee. The template that the two of you and Craig also made it worked on, or just the two of you?
Gio and Dan typed in a little hair.
This was really good.
And AI.
Yeah, and
I think you guys did a good job on it. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Did you
so
think-
I'll just jump into this a little bit. So this what we're doing right now is the work session, and that this is the result of our November meeting discussing that this is going to be the ideal format for the group. So this is our very first time doing this in this room, and this is flexible. If we decide we love it, we can continue. If we hate it, we can move our work session right back into the commission room, and this room is well equipped for other types of meetings that need recording and capabilities. So this is where we landed here, and also we left that meeting after reviewing and discussing the evolution of the Parks and Commons Commission. Leaving that meeting with all feeling like, yes, we wanted to have the work sessions and the regular session format, and we wanted to have Gio, Dan, and I work on a draft presentation for the commission to review during this work session, and then with the goal to take it to our December city council meeting. So all of my city council meeting materials are due next Tuesday. So this is our time to make some edits to this and changes or other suggestions, because then where we are tentatively on the schedule and for that meeting, and whatever we work through today, we'll present to the city council and see how they go. In the discussion of the evolution, which I think is an important piece, and I'm sure it will be a piece that will be discussed today, is the suggestion of it being a committee versus a commission. And just wanted to share the rule of thumb that I've taken from other city managers through a lot of discussion on how volunteer groups can help cities and help city work and help city councils achieve their goals, is bodies, groups that have the ability to make a final decision is a commission, and bodies and groups that are supportive, advisory, make recommendations to city council and council to help further along their work is a committee. So that is the rule of thumb that most cities utilize. I know there's a lot of different definitions you can find online, but that was like the consensus from all of the city managers that chimed in with their volunteer group supports and how they go for that. So that is a big part of where that came from in this particular recommendation. And during that October meeting also, where it was discussed that we had that discussion, are we going to dissolve this commission? What, after a long conversation of what is this commission? How does this commission support the city and the city goals? What's the goal? We kind of came to that point. Are we are we going to dissolve this group or are we gonna continue it on? And then it was decided to continue on, so I think it's important to really now define how that continues on, not just say we're gonna continue on and then the same kind of unknown of how we support the city. So I'm really happy and proud of where we're at right now, and I love what Gio and I put together. And I hope that you all do as well.
Yeah, like I
Think
said,
we get on
I
board,
think you did
yeah.
a good job with laying it out.
Yeah, so I'll give you a little background on how, or do you,
No,
you
no,
get a little background on how we got to this, so.
Yeah, sure, we. Bobby sent out a couple of samples of other language that other cities have used for committees. We ended up picking different samples to use as our template. And we both wrote our ideas down. And then we got together, Dan was reviewing them as well. And when Dan couldn't make our meeting, but when we got together, Bobby explained that she had just gone to an AI workshop on how to use AI. And so she took our two documents, put them in there and asked Jim and I to blend them. And she gave it a couple prompts. What was the prompt? Less planning, more advisory? Was
Yeah.
kind of one of the prompts.
Yeah.
Was there another
And to use the ordinance template.
ordinance template? And so this is the result of that. And then we sat there and we both read it, commented on a couple things that were left out and a couple things that were put in, and we sort of edited it, and then this is the result. And I just want to point out that the agenda setting was done before this document was created. So all the things that the review commission evolution, we should definitely be looking at all of this to make sure that, you know, we've got it covered in some way or another, or maybe we don't need to cover it if it doesn't matter anymore.
So glad you said that, because I felt like all of those things were in, you know,
Yeah,
that.
Yeah, it's pretty much there.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So by
that's-
reviewing this, we're basically hitting all of those
We are,
agenda topics.
we
Yeah.
are, yep, so.
I did realize last night, when we were reviewing all this, and I should have looked earlier. But this work session was also gonna have us each chime in with our 5 goals for next year, and then we would take that, conglomerate that, and bring it to our agenda as sort of a
I think that can happen.
okay,
Yeah, I think it still landed in the new business.
Right.
Subject, I think there's a few leftovers from last meeting that are on there, so.
Okay.
That's okay to do.
okay, great,
Yeah, but that was a topic for you.
yes,
Yeah.
and I, for some, in my notes, I had that we would be doing it in this work session.
Sure, there's no reason why we can't,
Okay.
as long as you speak to this part.
Okay, let's go.
I have a couple things I'd like to
Yeah.
point out.
Excellent.
One of the things in their membership, it says you've got a city council for a specified term.
Mhm.
So I feel like that needs to be defined. What's a specified term? 1 year, is it 3 years? So I think that should be included, it's not a big deal. Another question that I don't think was answered in here, do other work groups, if we form the YAHAS, the WISE TSC, do the work groups still come and report to that committee like they do to the PCC, like the trails, the commons? Is that still gonna be part of what the committee does? Is receive reports and
Yeah.
so it doesn't say that here.
So in number 6, under public engagement, it says, serve as a forum for gathering input from citizens, relevant organizations, and user groups regarding community space use. It also functions as a platform for work groups
Okay.
organized under the
So
city
you're-
manager
it's
to
all-
publicly report their
I
activities.
missed that, that's good. There's somewhere, and I tried to find it just now, I noticed it yesterday, and I quote, said, all remaining duties will be transferred. So that's another like, so which duty? So another, is the whole PCC duty list gonna fall in here, or how we're just like, what's a specified term? What duties are gonna get moved forward and which ones will no longer?
Oh, there it is, in dissolution of parks and commons.
Mhm.
Where you at? The very bottom,
Specified. Yeah, so again, minor points.
So
I
what
just-
duties are you working with right now that need to be
Getting
turned over?
finished with my.
So I
term.
think it's just left as is.
And one other thing I wanted to add that I don't think you guys got in here is, ever since I joined the commission, and probably before, there has not been any kind of introductory training for new members. We've talked about it a lot, use the term onboarding. And I think something simple, an operating manual or an introductory packet or something should be included in the new committee's documents.
So that one won't land in this, that is more management role stuff for all commissions, all committees. And we do and we have been giving handbooks out to every new
Just turn my name.
commissioners, yeah.
Didn't teach me it.
So, and then, you know, we did that onboarding because there was a handful of people who came on at the same time for this group.
Yeah.
But so like, for example, we have 2 new planning commissions and I'm meeting with each of them next week individually to talk about, you know, all of the different roles and for them to ask questions. And so we're really trying to work on that. I recognize that you probably didn't get that as like clearly when you started, but that's certainly something we're trying to make as a priority.
I think, I mean,
Yeah.
the booklet goes all the way back to
Yeah.
1990. What we need is just a couple of pages
Mhm.
that say, these are the things that you need to do and that our committee is designed. So again, something simple, but something printed that gets handed out. Maybe even when people are first applying to
Mhm.
become committee members.
Yeah, so that's another thing that we've implemented also in within the management of all groups is that as soon as anybody turns in an application, they meet with me first.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay. that's
very
good.
first off, so like they can ask me questions, I can set them up for what the group topic is, what we're looking at, you know, what we need from that group, what the city goals are that relate to that group, and kind of go over that before they even come to do their first application to make sure that that's something they really want to do.
Exactly, good.
And then they know what they're actually coming into, not just what they think they're coming into. So trying to set that up from like the ground level to be more fluid and procedural.
Okay, that's all
Yeah,
about.
but good points.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is,
Mhm.
almost sounds like a subcommittee topic. Honestly, but that's.
Any other comments?
I have a couple that I wanted to point out. So in here, in talking about the membership, it does say in under C that in addition to the membership, the city manager or an assigned staff member shall serve as an ex officio non-voting member. So that's Rosa or I or whoever, myself or whoever I ask to be at the table or to be part of subgroups or be part of some of the working groups, just so we have that city staff liaison happening with the work groups, so that, or with the committees and groups, because you know, that's exactly what we have for our work groups. Anybody who requests to have a work group, I assign a city liaison person. So that's just so we're all working together and we have city staff ears and eyes and hands and knowledge on all of the work that's happening.
Just a quick question about that. So let's say work group forms with Rosa or whoever as the city staff onto that. Does that mean if that particular staff member can't make a meeting, the work group can't meet, or can they meet anyway and still work with the city staff person? Update them on what got discussed during a work.
I guess it depends on what's happening, and there's flexibility there,
Okay.
but for my preference is that the city staff person's present.
Well, yeah, I assume that would be the work group's preference.
Yeah.
But scheduling 5 or 6 people,
Right.
something to be a nightmare.
Right.
Despite the fact that we're all retired.
Right, so, but
Except
remember,
for the
so
city staff.
work group also
And you, sorry.
is, work
And
group is also different than the committee and little subcommittee groups
Yes.
too. So, and one of us doesn't necessarily, or my assigned person, I'm not necessarily going to assign them to you two going off and furthering along the project that you have discussed here with all of us. So there's a little bit
Okay.
of difference in ability and
So
stuff
you're
there.
like referring to a subcommittee.
If
You wouldn't
it's-
necessarily have a staff person if there's a subcommittee of 2 working on.
Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily have to have a staff person
Yeah.
involved in that,
Yeah.
but so that's kind of some differentiation between subgroup of this committee and or a whole separate work group working on a total separate project, for example, boardwalk. You know, I don't want anybody who we're needing the word walk without a city staff person present to talk about that.
I was wondering, so is the distinction we're talking about subcommittee versus work group? So subcommittee absolutely needs to have city staff, whereas a work group, like those two wander off and work on something.
You flip that.
I flipped it,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah,
Yep.
so.
And a work group might not have any committee members or commissioners.
Correct.
Whereas the subcommittee, I guess by definition, has at least one.
Yeah, theoretically, and then if it doesn't work out, certainly that's okay, so.
And Bobby, correct me if I have this wrong, but work groups are created by city managers. We can create subcommittees.
Okay, good point.
And then in these work sessions and in the regular sessions, so there will be myself or whoever I assigned to be part of that conversation at the diocese or at this table, but not a voting member. And then another topic I wanted to dive into a little further. So really, in the powers and duties in that first line, really the primary focus I feel of this group is continuing that common master plan forward and all of the elements that is going to take, and it's a lot that it takes, and so that's really a lot of what this group's going to be helping to the city push forward. And the combination of master plan and advisory, I don't know if those need to be combined the way they are. They could potentially be separate. The master plan is the master plan and the phased implementation community aspects of that. The policy advisory is a lot of like what we've done recently with the noxious weed ordinance and doing a section of that and then passing it over to the planning commission, or Adam taking on the street ordinance and then passing it on to
It's on my board, that makes me feel better.
Oh, I know it is, Sarah. I don't mean to take that.
No, it's fine.
And specifically about the tree ordinances, is that gonna be addressing like city property or nothing to private property?
I mean, I'm sure like
Well,
he's.
that would be part of the discussion too.
Yeah, we part.
But I mean, the limitations of power
Yeah,
on this, the last statements, it talks about the authority does not extend to the planning, maintenance, construction management.
Correct. Yeah.
The last of city hall or private property.
So with this, it's going to be, they'll be making some recommendations and giving, because that was specifically in the city council goals. So this would be something that's related to city goal support and the assigned projects from the city goals or city manager to this group. And that was, for an example, one of those things. So this group I would see taking on more of the public spaces portion of this, and then passing it on to the planning commission, and working with the planning commission for more of like code and private property spaces, how that affects private property. So it would be an
just like you mentioned, where does what we're doing connect to the private property point? I missed that, you just said it, but it didn't make sense to me. So it says right here, if we follow this, these are the things that are excluded.
can we wait to get to that point?
You can wait.
Okay, so let's wait till we get to that point. Let me just, because they're like two separate
Okay.
things.
Can
So.
we talk about it at the next meeting?
So, for example, this is a assigned project from city council, city manager. And I would say, please address the public spaces portion of this and work on that. Then it would be passed to planning commission, who would then work on how that affects code to go to our private.
Okay, that's it.
Yes, so then, so that we could make those two separate lines, planning, master plan and policy advisory, or they could still remain in combination. I think that it's fine either way, but it's something that I wanted to point out. And then, when it gets down to the limitations of power, Ron.
Good name.
To the section, so I think that this actually needs some work in this section. I don't know that I love how that ended up. I feel like the way that it's written right now, the committee's authority does not extend to the planning of maintenance, constructions, management, or daily operation for the Yahats Community Library, Public Works Facility, or interior city hall, private property. I think that the way that adding those specific properties at the end limits what that's saying, because this committee does not have the extent of the planning, maintenance, construction, operations, or daily operations of any other part of the city. So so adding those specific places, I think, almost contradicts like what's being said.
I mean, what you're trying to do is say that the commons,
Yeah.
the green space and the pavilion, those things are, these things are not. So
Correct.
maybe more specifically stating, you know, that differentiation would simplify.
Because the committee doesn't have those types of authority over any of the
Maybe
city
authority is
property.
not the right word.
Yeah,
That's one thing.
Yeah.
I like purview.
yeah.
Yeah,
But you
purview's a
don't
good
have
word.
purview over, they don't necessarily really like purview over any of that stuff either.
Yeah.
So it's
But we have
like-
purview, we have purview
Green
green space and.
But you don't have any purview over the maintenance, construction, management, or daily operations of all that. You
Yeah.
have the ability to make recommendations.
Well, we
and
can't do
advisory.
anything, right, but
Right, yeah.
it's within our purview to talk about the daily operations, isn't it?
Not really,
How about maintenance of the commons? That's often something we've talked,
Yeah.
yeah.
and something that gets reported to
You can
us.
make suggestions about it, but it's gonna be our responsibility to,
Sure.
But that's
Manage it.
that's not a change, though, that's always been the case.
right, but this commission doesn't manage any of that.
Right,
You can
But
talk
we make
about it, you can make
suggestions.
recommendations,
And
absolutely.
that's what I mean by in our
Yeah,
purview,
yeah.
we can't set the rates for rentals.
But
or
you can
anything,
make
we can make
recommendations,
recommendations,
yeah,
so that's, to
absolutely.
me, that means it is
So I
our
think
purview.
where that gets like sticky and makes me go, is that it says anything about daily operations at all, in it, or construction management or maintenance.
But
So
it
even-
would still-
yeah, so
Take
just
that whole
taking those
clause out.
words, so I think that's what I was meaning,
Okay.
is like, that makes me.
And
feel
yet,
more
wouldn't
fuzzy.
you welcome recommendations on those too?
No.
No? You would not, you would not, then
No,
why are we
I-
giving you CIP recommendations?
No, I take recommendations on all things, well, if I implement it, maybe not, but I will hear all recommendations, just like I heard Adam's recommendation on a totally different subject earlier. I heard his recommendation, will I take it? I don't know. You know?
Question.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm just using this example, but no, yeah, I take recommendations on anything, really. If there's something that's seen by any person who is involved in the community and is, you know, and is an invested member of our city volunteer group, yeah, I wanna hear what you have to say.
I think Ron has the right word. I like purview personally as the word, and those buildings, the library, public works and city hall are specifically entirely outside our purview.
Yeah.
Whereas the commons and most other public spaces are within our purview.
Yeah, okay, I'm
So
changing
if-
this to the committee's purview does not
Extend.
account for or extend
Extension's
to
okay.
extend to the Yahats Public Library, the Yahats Public Works Facility, interior city hall, or private.
So you're gonna leave out
I'm gonna leave out
planning,
all of those
maintenance,
details.
construction and operation.
So.
I think that's fine.
I like it.
Yeah,
I just looked up purview definition. It says the range of something's authority, knowledge, or interest. So authority's tricky one here, but knowledge or interest certainly.
Yes.
I think we could stick with it. It's 2 out of 3.
how about the committee's knowledge and interest?
Very specific.
Dan has a question.
Would advisory function be better than purview or authority?
Yes, even better.
Very good, and I have another question on that paragraph. And it relates to the interior city hall. As far as the definition of that, because, for example, I understand that some remodeling of city hall is in the wish list for the 25-year plan.
Yes, sorry.
Addition off the end or things like that. And I'm just want to bring up the point that you can't remodel the outside without remodeling the inside, so I'm not sure
I think
exactly.
maybe just take, just City Hall.
Well, hold on,
The-
I wrote that specifically that because the only thing in the master plan added to the city hall is the council chambers. And that's not city hall, that's council chambers.
But it's going to impact city interior
council-
slightly, I mean,
All right, clarify for me, those council chambers are added to the existing city hall?
yeah,
That was
Okay.
the plan where the drive-through is.
Yeah.
Okay. And we're not
So-
moving any interior walls, any interior doors or anything like that, I'm just looking at the language of it.
Expanding it out.
Yeah.
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 I think there would be no, I don't even think, well, no, we would need a door for staff, but all public will enter through that exterior into it, but we would have, like, that's probably the main, change inside city. Well, we probably would use that whole space where Kimmy used to be set up in it out. Like, so there would be a wall that would be added and a door and then pushed out.
And like I said, I'm not focused on anything specific on that, but just the language
Yeah,
seems a little strange for, you can work on the outside, but you can't work on the inside.
don't touch the inside of City Hall.
It came specifically out of one of our meetings where I was asking about limiting our purview and Bobby said, well, I think we should leave it vague. And I said, well, do you want us messing around with the inside of City Hall? And she said, absolutely not. So
Infrastructure or policy?
So I was thinking that it made a distinction about City Hall's kind of staff and it's not our place at all.
But then
And
again,
the council
all
chambers is our,
master plan advisory,
yes.
that's part of the master plan, and it was first number one. Master plan advisory is one of our duties. So now, that's part of the master plan.
But only the council chamber is part of the master
alright,
plan.
we're
That's
not
not
hung up on
Let me-
very minor detail here.
I want to bring up one other point though. The 25-year plan is a concept plan.
Yeah,
Okay, so in implementing that, we may wind up at some point in time, for lack of a better word, totally redrawing City Hall. As in going, oh my God, you realize if we do this and that, and then we get this, that kind of cuts out
So,
that kind of.
how I see that is some kind of lining into the statement that says, trying to find where it's in here, but it's basically saying that the group is doing projects specifically assigned by city manager or city council goals. So and that would be something that would, if that's part of the master plan and the city manager at the time says, now we've reached this point, or you guys say, hey, we've reached this point, let's have this discussion. And then the city manager at the time says, yes, let's all work on that together, or no, let's hold off on that, or we'll take over that part of the process. So it leaves it open, I think.
And I guess with that, what I'm pointing out / pushing for, whatever, is, you know, the suggestions I made, you came back and went, these are far too specific, and you're kind of hemming us in.
Yeah, yeah,
And that also seems like one of the
it is,
specific
it
things.
is very specific, that word, specific.
It was on purpose. Definitely on purpose.
How about we just say city hall, because that's not really city hall, it would be council chambers.
Okay, that's fine, I think we need to move
Yeah.
on, so I'm okay with sticking with that.
So have we rewritten this paragraph?
Yes.
What's it gonna say?
Limitations of power. The committee's advisory, okay, function, okay, I didn't write it very well.
God, we have a defined function.
No, Josh. The committee's advisory function does not extend to the Yachats Public Library, the Yachats Public Works Facility, City Hall, or private property. What are you saying, Rosa?
So the only thing that I can think of, and maybe this is also too specific, but when I'm thinking about the master plan and moving forward and grant writing as such, I'm thinking about all the projects ahead. And the council chamber is one of them, but then it's also the generator issue. And I know that we're trying to, you know, become more sustainable with that, and that includes the Commons, City Hall and Public Works, and, you know, building in through the break room for the new generator. And so, and with the library as well, grant writing just to like propel these buildings. They're all public buildings, community spaces that eventually we will have to, you know, get funding for. And getting assistance with the grant writing process would be very helpful. Acquiring documents that I need for those grants, meeting with people from the committee to make sure that those are on track and we're doing everything we can to obtain these funding sources would be very helpful.
But the library has its own commission, the Little Log Church has its own advisory group, or, so we don't, that seems to me it's redundant. Those are the
City
people.
Hall is also where we're gonna be writing for grants.
So I think what you're talking about right there, Rosa, it really falls under the line 2 where it says
Okay.
funding advocacy.
Oh,
It says research, advocate for and recommend diverse and sustainable funding sources and grants for community spaces and trails. Implementation of and recommendations will be provided to the finance committee during their capital improvement session for evaluation of the city budget. So I think that all of that really falls into that, and also that will get more specific on what it is that we're needing funding support for as work evolves and as things evolve, and that's going to be a huge part of what this group would do is work sessions. Is
Okay.
advocating for that.
So looking for the
we've
parts that overlap.
discussed a couple different ways already that will be pushing some of those things forward.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect.
Okay, so I'm concerned with the new language moving to just City Hall instead of interior of City Hall, is that we did just eliminate any discussion about council chambers unless the city manager assigns it. So the point was to limit it to the interior of City Hall so that the rest of the City Hall was in our purview. So I'm trying to figure out, you know, how we just got to more limit instead of less limit.
So can I just
Yeah.
make a comment on that real quick? My thought with that is that because it does say it in the master plan, and this group is really guided a lot by pushing the master plan through, that when that, and to be quite honest, like the council chambers, I don't see that being until
Yeah.
towards the end. It's like, to me, the least needed thing for the community.
Right.
So who knows, I'm not be here. Sorry, 25 years, I hope I am, just FYI.
The one that I am.
You get that, Karen?
I really hope I am. Just thinking like, you know, each part of this, the master plan, you know, we're gonna be tackling step by step by step. It's just such a big meaty thing that I don't think we need to get too bogged down on like the specifics of the wording in here right now, because it will
Are we-
probably, I mean, by then, more of the city hall might end up being part of this conversation, you know, because it's 20, you know, maybe 25 years, maybe more of the city hall is gonna need more. You
If
know,
we took City Hall entirely out of that clause, how upset would you be?
I'm
I mean,
No,
we're
I
not
mean, I'm not
gonna go, we're not
upset,
gonna be,
like-
no, but we're not gonna waste
Yeah.
time talking about moving Kimmy's desk over here and redecorating City Hall. It's not something we're gonna spend time on.
Right.
And rather than spend another 40 minutes discussing how to word it, if we
Yeah.
just leave City Hall out of that clause and move on, everyone will be happy, and we just will pretend that it's basically outside of our purview, except
Well,
for.
I think, you know, that's fine with me, that's.
I just wanted the assistance with the funding sources.
Yeah.
To move projects along, not the interior of the city hall.
Yeah, no, I think that's
Yeah.
fine covered. The advisory portion of it is listed here, which I think is just the base of this whole thing, it's just. It's all advisory, you're not, you know, and with all of those things being said, this, I don't feel this way, but you know, how this is written, it's not about this group coming over and being saying like, okay, now we're gonna take over City Hall. We're gonna run City Hall, we're gonna take over, don't quote me on this, Derek. We're going to take over, we're gonna just like take over the operations and things like that. You couldn't do that in this, but I don't think that that's not my concern either. I think that the point of this committee is that you're supporting whatever the city, what is needed for this by the city.
Right.
By the city council's goals and the city manager, whatever that is at that time. If I was to come up to you and say, hey, we really need to have a remodel at City Hall, you guys are the group, you're the community spaces group, can you help me advocate for that? Can you guys help me figure out
Yes.
how this would look and feel? I don't have time for this right now.
Argument to take City Hall out of that clause,
Yeah.
because otherwise we'd have to say, no, we can't do it.
Because our
ordinance
limitations.
says No.
Yeah,
Well, we generally don't do anything we're not asked to, so.
yeah.
You know, or yeah, we suggest something that, you know.
Well, that's, I don't, and being a committee, you guys are, a committee is a support group. These are a support volunteer group, and that's truly what I believe every single one of you wanna be. I don't think that any of you are trying to come in and take over operations of anything. So,
All right, let's take City Hall out of that clause and move forward.
Great. I think number one up in master plan and policy advisory, why not split those two? It makes a lot of sense. To just keep master plan as its own topic, policy advisory as its own.
And so that would be divided at the end of the phrase Greater Commons Master
Yeah.
Plan.
And then policy advisory, the committee shall collaborate with city committees, and commissions. Coordinate policy where overlap and responsibilities exist, which kind of speaks to this thing of, you know, working on something that may affect a property, like a tree ordinance. We can collaborate with other committees and commissions in these cases.
Yeah. Fine with that.
I like this. I feel really good about this. I feel really good about working with all of you guys with this exact shit.
Except for.
I tried to twist his arm to join in other ways. It just is
Yeah.
like, no, you said you're done, but I could really use you over here.
Yes, you have made that. So it's a couple others.
Yes.
Well, we just want you to think that we're ready for you to go.
Right.
She said, nice try. Told her that we missed her. It's a nice try. Like I have tried. I'll just have to see her on the farm instead.
So what are we doing?
My only thing I'm grappling with in this whole document is the committee versus commission.
Mhm.
I did a little digging online, of course, like you said, there's different definitions, and I had a nice chart. I forgot to bring it with me. Anyway, Kimmy's gonna share something that I found,
Nope.
committee versus commission, next tab, I think. So. Commissions may be established by ordinance, statute, or city charter, which this is doing, and often have the authority to make recommendations on policy or administration. Effectively acting as a governing body under certain public meeting laws, some have direct decision-making authority in specific areas like planning or parks. Committees are generally more informal, serving an advisory committee and provide input or perform specific short-term tasks. They research issues and report back to the main governing body like the city council or commission. So just from those two, it sounds to me like we're more of a commission than a committee. But moving on, commissions often require a more formal application process and appointment by a higher authority such as the governor or the mayor city council. Again, we'd be doing that, I believe. Committees may have appointed members, but the process can be less formal than for commissions. So again, it sounds to me more like a commission than a committee.
Well, except the way it's written in the.
Yeah.
I know, I'm just looking at the definition.
It's what stands out to me. Decision-making authority is what stands out to me.
That's the
But the
difference.
commission is, that's the difference, yes, correct. When the other one says more of like advisory.
I'm sorry, I missed that. Where does it say decision making?
And
Flip back.
if you go up,
Scroll up.
Yeah.
again, just to the first one.
I don't have my mouse hooked up, hang on.
Yeah.
Those nails.
There it is.
appreciate you.
Some have direct decision-making authority. That
Okay,
doesn't mean we would, and
okay.
we wouldn't,
Yeah, we never have.
and we never have,
And we never will.
and we were, yeah.
Except for policy 5.
Well, but even then,
Even
we
then.
just passed it off to
That's
city
true.
council and they had the decision. Was there anything in that last paragraph? Anyway, that, so. Membership, commission members in Oregon are considered public officials and are subject to state ethics and public records law. They're usually volunteers and may have fixed terms of service. So everything in that. Those definitions to me said commission, not committee. And that's why I'm a little hung up on the term.
Okay.
And I appreciate you got input from other city managers, so I'm grappling with that.
Yeah, and for me, commission, really feels like it's gonna land up the exact same feeling that you guys have been in, and we have all been in for the last umpteen years. Where it's been commission, but there hasn't been any true authority with the commission. It feels like it really is just another level of bureaucracy, quoting couple members here. It really does feel like that. It feels like now all we do is come and have to make reports to you guys, and then you don't do any work, to really much work. I mean, there's some work that you recommend to us to do, and then we do the work. And it just is a meeting that happens. It takes a lot of staff time. But to me, with the level of committee and being able to like separate into the subgroups and have these work session time, it feels like we're gonna bring things to you and say, we need help with these specific projects. And then you guys are gonna divide up into say, that's my special interest. I'd love to work a little further on that. I'd love to research that a little bit more. I'd love to take this to the next level with you. So to me, committee is a support group of the cities. Commission is another level of bureaucracy. And also, there's no decision making thing. I think the same thing that can happen with committees, that can happen with commissions, they all have to have a application process. They get the same process with
All that one's broken.
being interviewed by the committee members, going to sit and getting appointed by city council. Same thing's gonna happen with the committee. Committee is I personally feel a lot better about the committee name and format. And feel supported by that.
I agree, because I think with the committee, with the commission, you're coming to these monthly meetings and rehashing the same thing, whereas you have the committee, you say, hey, we're looking for somebody to get involved with this. And if it's since you feel it's like in your wheelhouse, and you feel that something you feel passionate about, you're more likely to be, energized and advocating for it and moving along, whereas I just think from what I've seen so far is we've been just spinning our wheels.
So just by changing the word, keeping this document exactly as we've got it, and changing the word commission to committee, changes.
100%.
Well, because it says, because number 7, the way,
I don't see why it really even.
I think the word.
well, the organization, the last number 7.
Yeah.
Says we'll hold work sessions during monthly meetings to review projects exactly working on. Subcommittees may be formed as needed to support projects and goals. These subcommittees will consist of 1 or 2 members and may include outside volunteers, experts in the.
But that's been true.
That's true.
That was true with the Parks and Commons Commission. We've done that for years. We've had little work groups and subcommittees.
We don't save any staff time by being a committee over a commission, do we?
Not necessarily, no, but I do truly think that just the even name change, commission to committee, makes a giant change in the way that this all operates and how it's.
Doesn't matter to me. It's a potato kind of thing.
Yeah, what matters to me is this legal
Mhm.
emphasis on breaking up into subcommittees.
Yeah, no, I think the key thing you said in here perfectly fine.
Yeah.
And I honestly, I'm like, Dan, tomato, tomato. I don't really think it matters what you call it. If you've got a clearly defined set of duties and obligations, then, you know, call it a group.
Yeah.
You know, I think it would be the same regardless. So I don't care. You guys can decide.
Gary.
I'll go with the majority.
I guess I'm the only one who cares, so we can go with committee. It does bother me a bit, but that's fine.
We can both agree to disagree.
So now, are we prepared? Are we voting this? If we're gonna vote this, approve this so that you can.
Yes, I think we have.
We, not in this meeting, but when we go over to
Oh,
the regular session, yeah.
So this topic is not gonna be done when we leave this room.
No.
I mean, it will just be brought up as a motion. It doesn't have to have a whole discussion.
Okay.
So the
So we can decide what that motion is.
changes so far is we've stricken City Hall from limitations of power.
Yeah, and we actually struck a whole sentence.
That's
We-
right. Yeah.
We stuck planning of maintenance, construction management, and all that, all the way to planning for the.
Okay, so there's a change there.
Do we need to go back and set terms before we vote on this thing?
Yeah.
I think we should utilize the same terms that are in the finance committee.
Works for me, I'm just asking.
Yeah, and I'll add those in.
Well, from close in, so-
2 years, I think, or 3 years, is it, Kimmy?
What's that?
Is it, it's 3, we have, it's a whole like on year thing, it's like, I can't quote it, but there's like different times where they come in and, yeah. But we wanna keep it consistent with our, committee, so we'll just hold that same language.
Okay. Okay. So that's a change in membership fee. And there was a change at master plan policy advisory, making those two separate.
Wait, D. Sorry, George, I mean, you did, I don't see the term in D, it's in D. Okay, got it, D for 3 years.
I've got just a little weird question, and it's under the establishment of purpose. What is circulation refer to there?
That is a great question, and it was meant to be changed to, no.
No, it's
actually,
left.
Yeah, circulation was.
Something traffic?
Traffic flow.
Traffic and pedestrian.
Yeah.
In the master plan, there's a lot of that discussed
Yes,
with,
Exactly.
yeah.
Trying to make it more
Yeah, I just want
efficient.
clarification what that was.
You
said there's a change in fee?
Well,
You said go ahead, make B in membership to 3-year term. Instead of a specified term. We were gonna take the bolds out of the advisory role. That was one of my thinking was, I don't really think it needs to be bolded.
Where's that, George?
In establishment and purpose.
Oh,
Okay,
The very
oh, it
top.
doesn't need to be pulled,
It
yes,
just,
Establishment of purpose,
yeah,
circulation.
yeah, that's true. You know why it's there.
I do.
Because we told the AI to highlight it. AI, I swear.
But that's
You
pretty
guys at the
small
meeting.
stuff.
It is, yeah.
It's good. It's
Yeah,
good. So-
I said you guys did a great job getting it organized.
And I also like to mention that I thought it was nice that everybody kind of knew what it said before they got here,
Yeah.
you know, we reviewed it. So, kudos to all of you.
And we separated, we made one master plan and advisory, 2 different.
Yes,
I think that's a good.
so now you have 1 through 8.
Yeah.
Nice and formal. What's the difference between circulation and accessibility?
Accessibility would be like ADA universal accessibility, entries and exits of the different building points and.
But you don't specifically say ADA accessibility. Just means circulation and accessibility are the same.
And then circulation is like traffic flow.
I see them as different.
Yeah, accessibility is really about ADA stuff too. Anything else?
Well, then,
Yes.
oh, sorry, I'm
Yeah,
skipping,
Dan,
skipping.
anything else? You study back out of this thing.
Nothing else at the moment.
Okay.
All right, so we will vote on it in the other
Yeah.
room.
And just to that point, in the future, we can just keep it staying in here for the regular unless you guys want to move into the. So that's totally something you guys.
I think Jimmy's already like attached to everything. All the work that it took us to get here. I was here yesterday with you for how long?
If there's no,
No, I meant say here.
Yeah.
if there's no
Then she
reason
has
for
to-
that,
Yeah.
we waste 5 minutes just moving.
Moving.
Oh, yeah, we spent a lot of time yesterday.
Well, that's.
There's snacks in the other room.
So
There is snacks in the other room.
I can bring those snacks over.
You know, you guys
Poor
think you can
Yeah,
restrain
but the other
yourself.
room, you can hide it, then you go in there and get water, because that.
Okay, should we move on to the next topic?
Yeah, let's see.
Yeah.
The goals thing.
So I think the best way to start this anyway is to just go and maybe on the blackboard.
There's one
if there-
behind you too.
Oh, there's another one?
There's
Just every. List our 5 and see where we overlap, and maybe all 5 of us have the same goal as number 2, and that, or whatever, and that would mean that's probably gonna be one of our top 5. So my handwriting is terrible.
You gotta write your own. No, you gotta write your own.
Oh, well, I was gonna put a check mark next to it if we overlap.
I'll go first. Adam.
Go ahead, yeah.
EDA bath upgrade, which is already going
already
on.
done.
Yeah, that's okay.
That's one of my goals.
But that's gonna be done before the end of the.
Great, so he's getting one of his goals.
He's
marked
marked
one
one
off.
off. Okay.
Good, that's how productive. you are.
Yes.
His goals are being
I like
met
that.
as we speak.
Oh, are we gonna vote on popularity now? I feel like I'm back in grammar school.
Even spelled really, they're just joking.
Yeah, it's your word, it should have 2 L's.
I agree.
I always put two.
I learned now, but it took me like typing it 20 times and having it highlighted in red that it's wrong.
I think I've been 2 out of them too.
I feel like whoever came up with that word is wrong.
Yeah. It sounds French. right?
What word does?
Pavilion.
So
when you say pavilion upgrade,
just a second, let me finish.
Okay.
I can't write and talk.
I get that, you're gonna.
Okay, there's my. I don't know if you can read it.
So the pavilion upgrade, does that mean this pavilion?
That means taking that pavilion and spending $285,000.
Okay, that's this pavilion, not the new.
New pavilion,
Okay,
$5
that's
million. I can put the dollar amounts on there too.
Can I write something on this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, she's not a voting member, she doesn't get to write.
Alright, who wants to go next?
But don't all give up on what you got, let's get this done.
If you
That's
don't,
not
just put a check mark or something next to it, so we know it's another.
It's all of them income. Funding sources.
Well, that's part of their
That's
group,
gonna be
that's part of
part-
their thing, yeah, that's part of the, whatever they're gonna do for everything, it's funding sources.
You can give us room.
Is this specific mainly to this?
This is
No,
our
your goals for the year.
Goals for-
for.
coming year. I was gonna say fiscal year, but I guess it's not fiscal year. Room 7,
Yeah.
stage. Oh,
And
Which room's the library in?
But not for long.
Yeah.
That one's on my list.
guess what? I only have 2 goals. That was
Okay.
it. And I see that my second one is covered in the report. So perfectly.
What's room 7, stage 2?
Stage 2 is taking from you remember the
Oh,
AD
phase
bathroom?
So that
Phase
whole
2.
side,
Phase 2, yeah.
I'm finishing that whole section.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's that.
alright. We'll go, I guess. Nobody's gonna be able to read this one.
Phase 2, better.
Is this our only chalk, like?
Write down more chalk.
Did we just get new supplies?
Okay. Yeah,
Okay.
This is for you when you.
We got
get
flood
ready.
rates.
Yeah, that'll be a CPAC.
One L. The new
Okay.
pavilion.
New pavilion.
The new
Versus,
pavilion.
why does it have 1 L?
It's,
We're all
unfortunately, that's how it's spelled, it makes no sense. I agree with that, Bobby, and I guess based on what you said, it probably doesn't apply anymore, but I was under the impression that the civic room getting expanded onto City Hall was important to help the YFAP along, and the sooner we got that done, the better.
Can I
So-
interrupt you real quick with that?
Sure,
It's not, with the end,
okay,
plan that was made is that, all of the YFAP stuff would be basically here back.
okay,
It would just be the after school.
Yeah,
okay.
And then this would even remain.
and I put it down as a goal,
Many
but
others.
I'm crossing it out right now.
I honestly think it's the least
There's-
necessary thing for the least benefit for the community.
Okay.
Of our whole entire thing. I would so much rather spend $1 billion before the even thought price of City Hall.
Okay,
It's pretty
good.
often in these films.
Pollinator garden, completing the signage. Which I know you have the signs, but we still have to get them all installed and. Signage. And. Bob, this is for you. Rebuilding the library trail. And I jotted down some dollars that were in the master.
I did too, but I didn't learn.
Just quickly, the new pavilion without some of the exterior work that goes with it was estimated at 2.4 million, so not counting the parking lot and solar panels or whatever else was on there, just the building. What they had is 2.4 million. The city hall expansion was 1.1 million, we can skip that. Pollinator garden was a fairly cheap one, which is why I threw it in there, it's cheap and easy and we can have a quick accomplishment without spending a fortune, 44K. Oh, I forgot exterior restroom, I'm sorry. So I had 6 and we crossed one out, so I make up for one of yours. The exterior restroom, which has been talked about and needed for a long time.
Yeah.
And that had an estimated cost of 200K, which really isn't that bad. Completing the signage should basically be free, I think, or pretty darn close to free to get all the signs installed that got probably sitting in City Hall, right?
They need posts.
They need posts and
Yeah.
maybe cement or
It's a
concrete.
few $100. It's not
Okay. Pretty close to free, and we'll.
But
the
that's
labor-
free labor
The
cost.
labor will be pretty much free. And rebuilding the library trail, I didn't realize this until I reviewed the master plan again, there's 30K budgeted for that.
For 55K.
Is it 55?
For next year,
30K.
yeah, no, and for next year, it's like landscaping, 55K for next year's
Okay.
budget.
So there is money for trails to work on that. Just letting you guys know, I know it's a work session, you can't chime in, so hold your comments.
Also, I don't know how much
actually,
people would wanna
it's
have
301.
trails and
Oh
how
my
much we
God,
want to be
what's-
hiring,
Sure.
be doing.
And these were more CIP related, and then I also have sort of separate the tree ordinance. Working together with the planning commission. To come up with a tree ordinance, sorry, I said nobody was gonna give me this, so I wanted someone to be writing. All right, next,
I think, you should have some.
and if there's
Yeah,
overlap,
there's a little.
if there's overlap, just go check.
I had lots of talk and it
The only
went
thing.
either the sink or the kids just
I was
played.
gonna say, I think that's what's out there on the sidewalk.
That could be where my chocolate, I collect them. and put them in a box. There could be tape going.
No, the emergency shelter.
I have to take going, so I
So
can't
that's the.
Morning.
decipher.
Section.
Give me too much
Yeah.
conversation.
Yeah.
Hey, guys,
Bobby,
she's trying to record this and we have like.
recording, so I can't catch any of it.
So what?
You said it was gonna be informal.
It's not informal enough that my tape is not.
Yeah, she does record.
And then after the list is done, it can be read out loud so
Circulation.
that it is on the tape.
We can do that.
That's the term that was in there, actually, I thought it was good, but.
Okay.
I saw that the federal government, are we not on the national tsunami alert system now? Something they cut that back, was part of the budget.
They cut it and then they brought it back. We haven't had an alarm in years.
But I mean,
Everything else.
the feds used to kind of, we were tied into the early warning system, and I don't think that that's going on right now, so do we not have a warning system in town?
I think it's like the helicopter, they took it away and then they bought it.
I mean, is there not?
Well,
like
but the
something that would
alarm,
go off?
we've never had not never, there hasn't been an alarm in town in decades.
Correct. What we rely on now is the messages from the county's alert system, text messages and calls. Is what they have for their alert system.
And for tsunamis, I think NOAA is still issuing tsunami alerts if there's a major earthquake offshore somewhere.
Are they
I believe I read that they're still gonna be doing that.
I heard something in Alaska, something, I just.
Yeah, they were gonna fund it for a certain period of time.
So, I mean, I think.
Mine are
Which ones? So we know there's more consensus.
definitely LIFAP design planning and room 7,
Stage 2.
Phase 2.
yeah.
It's part of,
Anything else?
Okay, can we ask that they be read?
Okay,
So that
I
it's-
think Rose wanted to add something on there
Yes.
too, that definitely needs to make the CIP list, so it's
The generator,
a commons generator.
commons generator, yes.
Chose the guy with the worst handwriting to do this.
part of the connect the trails is, you're gonna have the overlook the estuary walkway, and then you're gonna direct people along the highway over to the state parkland on Ocean Road. It's not really a great, to me, walking space for the amount of people that are using it. If you go, you have the same issues that you do where you're where you got the safety approval for the boardwalk, just because of the two-way traffic, lots of people walking.
Where are you talking about?
You're talking about from the end of the boardwalk.
Basically, if you walk, people go, let's look over the dam, let's walk across.
North
go
over
along
North
the
South.
Ocean, go across the bridge and go on Ocean Road,
Sidewalks are coming
on Ocean Road.
on Ocean Road. Oh,
I'm just saying that the way that interfaces with the amount of, the way, there's two-way traffic, which is really, a lot of times only room for one car or two cars
I'm
going
still
by.
not sure where you mean.
Well, like you have the little space for people to walk on the edge of the road there.
I don't know where you're talking.
Well, all of the Ocean Road from the south of the bridge to where they manage connect.
So south of the bridge?
so Young Heights Ocean Road
Yeah.
is basically a two-way road, but probably shouldn't be because it's so narrow.
Yeah.
With,
Definitely should be.
So, that is state parks property.
right,
Yeah.
And I am in discussion with them about making it a one-way road right now.
We've had that discussion for years.
Yeah.
It's come up before.
But it's state park.
They said the city didn't want it.
or even,
Because the residents along the road didn't like the idea that they have to drive 200 yards out of their way.
Well, I know that residents down there would be supportive of it.
All right, we're getting a little sidetracked, guys.
when I was.
Yeah.
It was what I was trying to explain.
Yeah, gotcha.
All right, I'll read these out loud for the record.
Please.
We got the ADA bathroom upgrade, the pavilion upgrade, and to clarify, that's the old existing pavilion, not the new one. The new northeast entrance, and the stairway. The interior commons upgrades. The commons generator. Room 7, stage 2. Which is the bathrooms, right? You said?
It's beyond the bathroom.
Okay.
Yeah,
Second.
second phase.
Second phase, okay. The YFAP design planning, the new pavilion, the pollinator garden, completing of the signage, rebuilding the library trail, the exterior restroom, the tree ordinance, emergency shelter, tsunami warning system, and connecting the trails, circulation.
So can I Ron, interior commons upgrades, which ones? were-
So that involves taking the kitchen out, if you look at the master plan, there's a whole section on it. It's about a $1.5 million.
Okay. And
And it does not include anything to do with Wi-Fi.
Right.
Okay, got it.
Can I have a low hanging fruit, from the Commons, master plan is there's a whole section on wayfinding signs and like entry points from the different areas to this Commons area, whether this isn't fully developed to the point of the final picture, but I still think having signage from the different points to direct people into this area would be a good thing to,
So like, example, where did one of those be?
like Ocean View Drive or Ocean View Road, the library,
So those are,
Fourth Street.
didn't we, I thought those were part of the project that we just did.
Yeah, we suggested signs at every entry into the wetlands.
So we just did the sign, the plant signs on that.
Oh, we
and
just did
then-
the plans, we
Yeah,
didn't do the others.
just the plant signs, because there's the whole signage project as part of this master plan that was discussed, and those,
Okay.
that's part of, I mean, those are
Yeah, I got
necessary pieces.
So we didn't do
But
those.
we need to like, but they were like artistic, like a whole,
All
there's
right,
like
so
a
that-
sign to be made with them, not just
So
like.
how does
a
that
sign.
align with the
That would
progress?
fall into
Complete
complete
signs,
signage,
totally.
because I thought those were part of that.
So,
okay.
but what about the Prospect Park? I mean, don't we already have with this new sign designs for those? And can't that then be used for the sign design?
Not how it was planned in the master plan, it was like more artistic.
So is there a reason that we made the signs for Prospect Park not to be aligned with the rest of the signage that we're gonna do?
This is, so that is like the difference between this being like the whole master park plan, like the park area has different. Like little vision and scope of that up there, it definitely aligns with all of the city logos and everything,
But
text
not
and
with what we're
colors
gonna
and
do with
stuff.
the master.
No, if you, the way you look at it in the master, so I keep reading.
I know.
Sorry,
It's like,
like,
this
do
is
you
not
have
the
lots of
master plan.
papers there? The master plan, it was like, if you look back into it, it was like more like artwork. That had like the
Yeah.
interior.
The master plan is still just almost like our
Yeah.
group, it's just suggestions,
Yeah,
it doesn't
yeah,
have to be.
yeah, so that's what I was saying, like, to me, those look very different than like standard signage that we just did.
So when
made
we
it.
talked about this at length before, my recommendation was that we wait until we have a design that we can use for all of the city's signage. And so now it sounds to me like now we've gone halfway and then we're gonna have two different kinds of
Not
signs.
necessarily.
Well, it's kind of what you just implied. We've got this
All right,
beautiful
we're
artistic.
getting sidetracked,
Talking about signage, it's one of the projects.
but we were just listening there, we're not going into any detail on anything here, really.
Yes, that's. It's time to
Yeah.
start. the
What we did
agenda
was
for
great,
this.
and it matches all of the city's logos, and everything.
Mhm.
And we just need you. to
Until we
put
do the next stage, and then.
Well, cause this isn't gonna match anything. It's all fine, but also with suggestions.
So the next stage on this stuff would be to prioritize it, decide what to move forward with, where we're gonna do this.
We as a committee, commission slash commission, we're still a commission. Have to come up with our goals for next year, and they're up there, we just have to figure out which ones are as a group, our goals.
These are passed on to the council.
Yeah, and I would, we're looking at something that could be added into like, I mean, this is a good, this might be great for today.
Mhm.
But we work on a 5-year CIP budget. I would think about things that you'd wanna make, like to try to push for or make recommendations for, something that could happen within this next year or 2 years. That's gonna be the pavilion, that's already gonna be happening, the ADA bathroom, like, that's already gonna happen. Room 7, stage 2, that is something that is a pretty attainable thing to happen.
Mhm.
And also, I think working on the design of YFAC would be a pretty attainable. And then there's the commons generator, that's very expensive too, that's gonna need to be, there's gonna need to be a lot more work on all of these rather than just saying. Put these in the budget.
We can-
Most of them are not.
Well,
gonna be
that's why
in
we
the-
meet every month for
Yeah,
next year,
right.
we're gonna go into detail on
Exactly.
things, one at a time. or-
But I don't believe that we wanna prioritize based on what something costs. I think we need to prioritize based on what we think is the most important project. And
Okay.
then figure out how to fund it. If we can only fund one project next year, but everybody agrees it's the most important one, then I don't think it matters that it's the most
I
expensive.
think it also depends on the funding sources, what's available out there.
Well,
what
of
is
course
more
it does.
attainable,
Ultimately, if you
yeah.
can't fund it, you can't do it.
Right, some things are
But
easier
I
to
think that
acquire.
should be the way we prioritize it, by the amount it's gonna cost. Otherwise, we're gonna do all the little projects and never do any of the big.
Right, yeah, because some of the bigger projects
My
are,
goals.
they're obtainable still, and they're more attainable than some of the smaller projects, depending on, like the YFAB expansion, it has great funding sources because it's childcare. It has a lot of vulnerable, it helps the community, it helps a lot of vulnerable
Sure.
population, and so there's more funding for that.
Understand?
And that's something you gotta do before you can move ahead with a lot of the rest of the design. You gotta
Right.
get the kids out, so everything else
And we
can
can
be
move
done.
on into the rest of the
There's
comments.
also a lot of investment that needs to be done in just the design phase of it,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
that's not cheap either.
Yeah.
And that you have to get it all designed and planned out before you can really go for the grant things.
Yes.
So
Planning
that's-
circles.
So doesn't the master plan packet already have at least a generalized design for the upstairs and the downstairs of the Wi-Fi?
It does definitely, but the grants that we've been looking at for the state require like very specific levels of accomplishment to be like shovel ready. So having your permits lined out, so having your plans so specific that they can be permitted, having bids already, having bids done, so far more detailed, yeah, so
Engineer.
so we did.
You got it.
We did hire, we did talk to the architect firm that worked on our plans for us, and they gave us an estimate of about $100,000 to get it to the point to be able to apply for a grant. for it.
That includes the engineering, they would cover the
What was that?
engineering. So, I mean,
Yeah, yes,
that
engineering.
includes part of that. They would
Yes, yeah.
handle that.
Which it would make sense, because when you're usually dealing with engineers and architects and you need those plans, usually they're about 1/10 of what the cost is. And if we're going for a $2 million grant, it makes sense that it's about 200,000.
So the rule of thumb.
Yeah,
Yeah, so we have to go from concept plans to engineering plans.
correct.
And the more that we can do on that, the more general we can do on that. The less we have to pay for
Yeah.
engineers to kind of invent things. Yeah, I've always designed things like, I want it to look like this, and then the engineer goes, oh, well, that's good, but it's gonna fall down unless you put a beam there. And I go, oh, well, let's put a beam there, you know? We can move it along that.
All right. Should we get a picture of this too, so we can? have it For the.
I was thinking of making a picture for my own use, so
Yeah.
yeah. Good reminder.
Are you taking a picture, Gail?
I am, waiting for my turn. Turn right here, do anything. Is this as far as we need to go on this?
I think
today?
so.
Okay, great.
Good stuff. So we had to hand in our goals by the end, basically this month, by the end of the year.
Yeah, we need them in January is when we start doing our planning,
So
so.
don't we need to go a little further today
I
then?
think doesn't we meet before she meets with city council
You do.
that month in January,
You do.
the first week.
So you'll be able to have a meeting in January.
All right, so we need to finalize these and discuss them in more detail. It's gonna take a bulk of our.
Well, next
Work session,
meeting,
yeah.
yeah. And I
I
know,
feel like it's necessary and I think it will help us a lot.
but I think it's valuable to have a combination of goals that are attainable within the year and some long term.
Yeah, I like it's telling, I intentionally listed a couple of cheap, free ones and 2 expensive ones. To get, like the new pavilion is a multi-year thing. I figure if we get some money in the CIP budget allocated toward this year. And next year and the following year, maybe over 3 years with some grants and
And one
whatnot.
design and you can get started.
Yeah, I'd like to form a work group on that. Pickleball players are talking about having a tournament to raise money, which would be a drop in the bucket over the overall cost, but it would show the community interest is willing to put some skin in the game for it.
I think that's great.
I would love to meet with you guys
Yes.
and actually get some solid documents and stuff done.
Yeah,
Find out maybe.
One thing I was on a piece of paper that I was we are up to almost 70 people on my pickleball list. That are, there's the beginner group, the women's group, the intermediate group, the advanced group, and some of them don't play anymore, they're still on the list from years ago. And there's probably some people I don't have on my list yet, so it probably is close to 70 people play. And we have one court.
You can also collaborate with the exercise group, because Kevin was telling me that so many people are now coming to his group that he would also like an additional space to meet. Larger.
Right.
And with the whole new pavilion, it has the option of having a double court, which is extra space for
exercise.
for other
Sure.
things,
Yeah, so with the pavilion and getting it phased out over the years in the CIP, you know, there's gonna be, there'll be a geotech that would need to happen at the beginning, and then taking the conceptual plans, more engineer plans, and like those different planning phases that, you know, they'll cost, but they'll be leading up to the bigger points, like there'd be something like where the grants where you need to have it to where, like building it to be shovel ready for the grant.
yeah.
Yeah.
So we just have the White House
So-
expansions, we did a geotech, and then now we're doing a planning grant, and then
Okay,
going for the big grant for the whole.
so is it acceptable, or actually it's not, acceptable, it's not the right word. Since you form work groups, can you authorize a work group for the new pavilion?
I can, I have an application process.
Okay.
Process for that.
So let's talk about that offline
Yeah.
then.
Yeah.
I think it's get that work group started. Yeah,
We're way past.
So in this
Almost
meeting,
3:30.
we'll have to end this one first.
okay,
Gavel.
the
Adjourn.
work session is adjourned. We'll take
It's
a
at 3:18.
1 minute break and
Yep.
run into the room, grab snacks and come back.
Oh, my name? For snacks?
Oh,
That pavilion needs to.
Anybody else to go have snacks?
Stay here. Yeah, okay.
Still finding enough students.
What's
Before we get, okay.
The other one's gonna be, that's millions of dollars.
So this was a totally, that's a. Okay,
The
that's.
new pavilion is over
And-
there.
Yeah.
By the,
This pavilion has been committed in this year's and next year's budget to.
So we're gonna do.
Yes.
the one, the upgrade of the existing
Yes.
pavilion, it's already committed,
It's
the
committed.
CIP budget.
Yep.
The
And it-
community uses that building so frequently, the pavilion that's already there. The pavilion is used so much that we're really seeing how
That's-
relevant it is.
That's why I put it on the top of my.
Yeah, can't tell you how many people are upset about not being able to reserve
I'm
it.
not sure if I followed everything right. I've got Parks and Common Commission reconstitutes Suhani Clatch after soul searching, look in the mirror during lengthy stitching.
Yes, exactly. Yep.
What is that?
Coffee Clatch and Stitch and Bitch, they're just both synonymous.
Okay. That was a good one. Group? That sounds like a fun group.
Basically what you get.
You mean when you?
My sister has one of those groups in Eugene where she's with a couple of gals and they crochet and they call that. Yeah.
So that's why I said they reconstituted Coffee Clatch. Another one just like you consider. They Stitch and Bitch on Tuesday.
Like the Stitch and Bitch.
Right? I think we need something like that here in Gables.
Making the roof.
And I look at you, you know,
Saves some city staff time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you know.
I had a couple letters when I was a part of it. Stitch and Bitch and book clubs. We really need something. But I really want to remodel this space for, not only for board meetings, but also like as a campus space, you know.
I think it's.
And that and.
Well, but then when I go.
Yeah, like,
I feel like it's really big. Isn't it?
Yes.
And then you come and suffer.
Also, now they really do have good.
They were all.
Well, that's
interesting.
You know, they want to redone in this building.
Okay, are we ready to start the regular meeting?
Yes, go ahead and start now.
thank you.
Okay, the regular session of our Parks and Commons Commission will begin. Do we need to take attendance again?
You can just say that the same members are present.
Okay, as Kimmy just said, the same members that were here for the work session an hour and a half ago are still here, and we will continue, and that's all the commissioners. So, in the work session, we spent quite a bit of time talking about a potential new city ordinance for a community spaces committee. And this whole thing, Bobby.
No,
No,
So
just to make a motion.
I move that we adopt as indicated in the work session, the document as it was altered and have Bobby bring it to the city council.
Second, third, fourth.
Okay.
I guess it's unanimous.
It's yeah, all in favor, my only objection, and I'm still gonna vote for it, was I think it should be a commission, not a committee, but. Okay, committee for the time being.
And Bobby, are you the one to bring it to council?
I think it would be good to have a member or two of the commission committee there as well. To kind of co-present it.
Would you like to do that? So sure, help write it.
Mhm.
Okay,
That'll be next council meeting?
On the 17th of December, yeah.
So what does that mean for the Parks and Commons Commission going forward?
it
Nothing.
was spelled out.
Doesn't-
Until it passes and goes into effect, we continue to meet, we'll plan to meet the first Tuesday of January.
Okay.
Is it required? Because the state laws is required to be discussed in two city council meetings, or can they approve it in the first one?
They can approve it for the first
Okay.
one. Mhm. If it's unanimous.
Okay. All right, that was easy. The minutes from last month, I had one comment on that,
Can I go back and make a comment on them real quick?
yes.
For clarification. This will be the presentation of this to council. They won't necessarily vote on it and approve it during this moment. It will have to then be formally written to an ordinance, and then it will have to be publicly noticed, and that takes me up to 2 weeks publicly noticed, so it'll be like official vote with a public hearing on January.
Okay, so it would most likely, assuming we don't get a hiccup, go into effect February 1st.
Yeah.
And actually, what we didn't discuss, and as good a time as any, is we'll have 4 existing Parks and Commons commissioners. Do we have to open it up to the public and reapply the 4 who are still commissioners to get 5 members, or do we ask for 1 new member, or how does that work?
Well, the way that it's written here is that everything will transfer over,
You did say
so.
duties, I didn't see members track, but maybe.
Well, and it was intended that it would all transfer over, and then we would be opening up the position for one new person to join
Okay.
the community spaces support committee.
Sentence where it says everything, our powers and duties.
I think it's the,
All applicable record remaining duties are transferred to the community spaces committee. These acts shall be simultaneous with no transition period between the establishment of the PCC and establishment of YCS.
it does not say members.
Yeah, can I make an addendum to the resolution we just passed to add members to that?
Or-
Yeah,
Yeah,
I would like to see members added to that Dissolution Parks and Commons Commission clause. It says the existing members of the Parks and Commons transfers to the new Community Spaces Committee.
I'll second that.
Oh, no problem, yeah, fine.
Okay, it's unanimous, I'm just, for the audio, yes.
Yes, it's just a change.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Agenda, can we move on to the minutes from last month?
Mhm.
Okay. There was one statement, and I don't know if you guys also caught it, that Geo was mentioned twice in.
George and Geo.
George and Geo.
Where's
George
that at?
is Geo.
Yeah, it is. Where's that at?
Still looking for it, sorry.
It's in CEC goals and CIPs and it's in the last paragraph.
So.
Under C.
Yeah,
All
okay.
the CIP,
In the very last.
The next to last
Second.
paragraph.
A subgroup.
second to the oh, I see it. Okay, thank you.
And for the future, geo is spelled GEO, not IO. It's an E in the middle letter.
Yes, I'm not sure why it went on there twice. That is weird.
It's probably with. Auto
And I wouldn't have spelled
Yeah.
it that way.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah. Okay, it'll come up.
Italian.
Any other feedback on the on the minutes, or are we okay with minutes as presented?
Yes.
Fine.
Okay, thank you, Kimmy.
You're welcome.
Financial report, this is Ron's last meeting. If we are gonna discuss finances at any time with Ron's expertise, now would be a good time to do so.
Okay,
Do you have
so
anything fresh to share with us?
all I really, I mean, so last year, the last time I did this, what we were looking at was the amount was budgeted in each of the categories and what the percentages that had been spent to date. But we only have through October. So that's only a third of the fiscal year. So the numbers don't really mean much. I have some, but I don't know if they're really gonna tell us much. We haven't gone over budget on anything. I think the budgeting looks like it's pretty much in line with what's actually being spent. And I would recommend whoever takes this on in the coming months, meet with Diane Gruber at the city hall. She's more than happy to take a little time and walk someone through the fundamentals of what we do. Okay, I mean, I can read you guys numbers, but I don't think they're gonna tell you much. They didn't tell me much, so, but we are doing okay. There's a couple of things, on the Parks and Trails marketing budget, we're at like 400%. I have no idea how that was defined, but that seems kind of out of norm. And the insurance was also over, but that's probably a one-time thing, so it's basically right on the money. And I don't think we even budgeted this. I think the finance committee did. So we're fine on the operating budgets. The CIPs are something I haven't looked at, because those are longer term.
Ron, just one question.
Sure.
Did you ever have any luck with the recategorization?
Bobby and I had a brief talk about it, and after that, we kind of decided that it's closer.
Just leave it as is.
Yeah. So, no.
Okay.
But we did talk about it before we decided.
Thank you, Ron.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thanks, Ron.
I think the person who applies will get handed the responsibility and when we find it. For us.
I kind of thought Dan wanted to take that. When you run a business, you must know how to do that.
I'm an artist. All right, work group reports. Any comments on I think there were 3 in this month's documents, trails,
Yeah, keeping your house beautiful.
keeping on beautiful and the boardwalk. Any comments on any of them? Anything, Bob's here, anything to add to that report or?
I failed to fill mine out. Just say that the 3 doors got done and it stalled out after that, so that's the status.
I would say one thing, when I walk around the west side of the library, there's, possibility for a trail in time would be there, I found the background.
I'm sorry, say that again?
A mounted biker? On a concrete pathway, right?
Oh.
The areas where we might be thinking of creating accidents.
Where was
I
this?
can maybe clarify that confusion. Dave Chamberlain was asking about where a bike rack can go, because there was none for the library, and we didn't settle on a place, but maybe he put it there and maybe we can have it put somewhere else.
They're easy to move. Is it
Yeah, they
that
are
same
very
kind
easy.
that we have over here?
They are.
So they just had to drill both.
Yeah, we didn't need a third one here, and the library didn't have one,
Over on the west side of the library on that concrete path.
so
The
maybe not.
west side, you might put the trail.
Okay, if there's a better location,
Do you have chamber?
Yeah.
That's, we,
or not cheaper, sorry, I meant Dave,
okay, that makes a lot more sense. I'm
Yeah,
like,
sorry.
sorry, I've been working on so many days. We'll talk about that later. So much work, I'm so sorry. I've been meeting with him for the bathroom walkthrough.
Okay, that makes.
So many work
Bob,
projects.
were you finished?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, I'll have that,
Yeah.
we'll discuss where that better location for that. Have that moved.
And whatever my feeling is that all of you walk around that area and see what ideas you come up with.
So the trail meant to go on the west side or the east side? I was confused about that.
So am I.
It was supposed to go on the east side, but when they built the gravel up next to the slab, it ended up being only about whatever 5 feet wide and really slow. But it's not really a feasible trail location, so we want to look.
Am I mistaken that they have added more gravel since we looked at it?
They did.
So is it more up to your standards?
I think it's less likely for the concrete to sell.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
So.
But not less like.
But a trail can be built up alongside that gravel or no?
You try to put retaining wall next to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a fence there, so
Probably should. Well, okay.
Is there a reason that sidewalk itself isn't just considered the trail?
I know, that's what I was thinking.
Not necessarily could be, it's just not exactly what you think of as the interest point to a trail system.
Does the fact that we have money allocated to it help your thoughts at all? I mean, quite a bit of money, what was it? 55,000.
I can't imagine where that would spend.
Yeah, I think.
Well, I mean, all right, so
Well, I
even if
think
you
we
spent
could, you know, we
10,000,
could
does that
hire,
change?
Landscaping company to do all around that area. Build up, if we need to build up a retaining wall, they're gonna
Okay.
flower beds or something to make it look nicer all around, so it's not so rough with just
Right.
gravel on the edge, you know, there could be. Definite like landscape architects that could, you know, happen.
I think it would be good if each of us took a look, walked down both sides and just come up with any ideas you might have.
So Bobby, can I ask a question?
Yeah,
So you visualize the landscape architect coming with the plan for that whole area that would include a trail over there, or us come out with plans that we would give to that person to incorporate it into some bigger plan?
my vision was that we would have like a landscape architect working that out with a company, because that's gonna be a lot of big, heavy work. But I would be happy to have you guys make some preliminary designs to share with that, whatever company is hired. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that, in my opinion, the trail is more, landscaping is nice, but the trail should be the priority. The trail gets used a lot. And landscaping around it is great with the extra money, but we need to focus on the trail.
Is there anything on the east side of the library and the building on the sidewalk, or is it just a straight?
There's the garbage. The garbage cans are in a little enclosure on the sidewalk on the.
I've just walked by, but I can't.
I'm sorry, wait, you said the east side.
East side,
West
because that's what
East side
it's.
has one of the heat pump outside, I believe.
But there's
Two-
room for
two-
people to walk.
Yeah, there's room along it. But it's not all that pleasant to walk on the sidewalk. Anyway,
Now, I'd like to ask a question. I'm trying to find that. Do we need that trail access by the library? Because isn't there trail access off of Ocean View?
6
Road there, like at
Yeah, 6.
at 6, yeah.
at 6.
Would we do better? And they're both come out about the same area.
Yeah, but people go to the library and they want to walk.
Yeah,
through.
the trail is stated, it gets heavily used.
I think it's an important thing, the trail, to start.
Well, that's true. If I was walking the library, I probably want to go through the wetlands too.
Yeah.
The kids also come from here and they walk to the library. That's what they used to do before,
That's right.
yeah, so.
I think it's pretty.
I think my suggestion is we got the money, I go for a retaining wall between the library and the public works water plant there and bring that up and have a trail independent of the sidewalk there.
I'd agree with that. Yeah.
And we need that's not a stable bank. That I don't know how much more gravel we added, but that sidewalk's gonna fail,
Okay,
just by the way it's built. And mostly it comes down to, if you got an embankment, you can compact this part very nicely, you can't compact this for nothing.
okay.
So that bank is going to erode and settle the water.
All the more reason to get it on this year's goals to put a retaining wall and finalize that trail.
Or consider the other side of the building, and I'd like to see that we would at least look at that, consider it. I don't have a good visual of it. I can see it.
This kind of goes into the Yachats Public Library that is specifically not on our plan.
But trails is. Trails
So maybe this would be a collaboration then between those commissions.
Bingo.
If it's offside of the sidewalk, then it's no longer.
That's right.
It's work.
It's all the interior.
There we go.
Full circle. Perfect. Report, is that next?
Yeah, we're done with the work groups, I think. Any other comments on the other work groups in the report? All right, moving on to Rose's report, the coordinator report. Any questions or comments? I see some discussion about the generator here that we talked about.
Yes, and I actually met with Dave yesterday to go over, yes, exactly. Been working on a lot of work projects. Yesterday was crazy on how many people I met with. But the generator, I'll pull up my notes.
So isn't there talk of there being two generators? One for this building and one for that building?
There's a total of 3 generators.
Oh, one for each building.
Correct, so, there, right on the, behind the commons, there are 2 boxes, the CT cam, and that is what powers the generator. And that feeds into, the breaker box, that panel that goes into the commons. And both of those are corroded from the inside of it and through to the panel, so the CT can will have to be replaced.
You have to replace the panel too.
Replace the panel. In the CT can, which powers the generator, that needs.
What's a CT scan, Ken?
The CT can is what
It's a
powers.
current transformer.
Okay,
So you got 400 amps of power going through it, you can't put a meter on a 400 amp line. So they transform that into like 30 amps or 40 amps, and then they measure then they apply a percentage to it.
Correct, and
It's just
that
a way of metering.
is not sufficient, to power the whole commons. It will power a bit of the commons, but not the whole thing. It doesn't have enough juice, and so we have to have. Right now, there's only partial.
So what's powering the rest of it? No,
We're not connected just yet.
you're talking about the generator.
The generator itself, if the power goes out, we will not be connected. The whole building will not be connected. There's only be a few things
that's what you're
that are
talking
working.
about,
So,
labeling what's
so
connected.
what it is we're bringing the generator, the extra generator over, because we had to purchase an additional generator over the wastewater system because our current generator over there went down and had to be repaired. So instead of renting a generator for the time being, we purchased a generator. Now that generator will move over here. That generator has so much more power to it than our current connection will allow. So we need to do another transformation box to be able to utilize the full service of what that generator can provide to this building. That generator can light and utilize like every single aspect of this building to where it would act. Like if we didn't have any power go out, like we have full power.
Right.
Our current generator, we only have a few things that can operate.
Okay,
And we can bring this generator over and plug it into what we have now, but again, only a few things, so we would be able to operate. So we won't be using it to its full capacity unless we have this major connection happen. And then the generator that's here will go over to City Hall.
Yeah.
So it's like this kind of circulating generator for their best use this because City Hall then can be a emergency operations center of its own, while this can be a community evacuation center if need be. And then that is quite expensive to do all of that, about $150,000 for the full transition of getting that generator full operating power.
And replacing the CT and upgrading.
Yes.
All of that.
Yeah, because we cannot just plug it in right now. We can't
Right.
attach it because of the corrosion that's in there.
Okay.
It all has to, there's a lot of replacement parts that need to happen before we can transfer this one over to City Hall and have that one transferred to the Commons.
Are we hoping this is a 2026?
Yes, because, we live in a space on the coast where if something happens, we're kind of cut off. And so we have to be as sufficient as possible. And so getting the generator up and operational is, top priority. So that we can.
Just curious, when's the last time they fired up a generator on this property?
Last winter.
Power went out here last winter.
Yep, last winter, this one on, and the winter before that, it was used for the Agate Festival to be able to take place.
Okay.
Yeah, we have had major power outage, that big ice storm that hit, it was the same day that the festival.
Or something.
Yeah, the Agate Festival
Costa
took
Rica.
place, but they were still able to have the Agate Festival once we got all the generators up and on, and it was very dimly lit, but it worked, kind of.
And out of curiosity, what is the fuel source for the generator? So
Diesel.
Diesel, yeah.
Okay,
Thanks, Rosa.
Do you have
Thank you.
diesel storage capacity?
We do, and we actually also have it on the CIP to get a 900-gallon trailer to be able, it's a on wheels, and so we can move it around to all of the different generators to fuel up if we run out.
Like
and
the
this
pump
is,
stations. and all that?
this I think is a public works discussion, the generator and fueling the generator.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
That's outside our
That is that is a public, on the public works.
Yes,
CIP.
so let's start doing that.
So, Rosa, would you mind talking about this paragraph on the Wi-Fi expansion and how?
Yes, so with the Wi-Fi expansion, we were kind of discussing that a little bit earlier where, when we were looking into, the grant itself, we were realizing that they wanted, additional details that were not in the design from Sharon Designs. And so to get to the point where we can apply for that $2 million grant, we have to hire engineers, we have to hire an architect, and actually come up with a design that could get us to the point where we can have 2 bids and permits. And in that way, we have a strong foundation for applying for the grant. And that would be, the estimate that they gave us was 150 to 200,000 for that phase. And so right now I'm looking into a planning grant to cover that cost.
And those are available.
I haven't, those ones are a little more difficult to find, and so I'm still doing research on that one, trying to find one that would actually fit.
I'm gonna hop in with that real quick. So all the more reason to try and get it onto a CIP schedule, because if we can be funding and starting it going, it's gonna get us further along for the grant to actually purchase rather than waiting for the planning grant
Yeah.
that may or may not
Something
come.
trying to finance.
Yeah.
In-house.
Yeah, it would push us along. If it had this committee's support, then it would get it, pushed along and requested to be on the CIP and moving forward rather than keep stalling until maybe we find a maybe grant that's available,
So-
maybe get, and then that, just a grant process puts it out a year or two sometimes.
That raises the question though, so we got a grant of $750,000 for the estuary.
Yeah.
Did that not free up funds that the city had allocated to pay for part of that we could now use for the funding of this planning?
No, not really, because we were planning on getting that grant. We wouldn't have done the project
I'm
without.
pretty sure I remember seeing there was $500,000 in the CIP for that walkway project at one point. So, I think, seems to me that money should still be there.
put the request in, we'll see. Money gets moved around a lot.
Comment, Michael? No? All right, just curious.
Yeah, so for me, personally, I feel that the generator and the life app extension are top priority at the moment to move things along. For the year, really trying to find funding sources for those projects. The bathroom project is coming along very nicely. Did take some pictures. They have the framing up, they have the doorways etched out. They are working on the electricity and the wiring for that. Yesterday they started putting in the venting along the ceiling, and so we're just waiting on the plumbing to begin, and then they're gonna be doing drywall and the false ceiling to cover up the piping and ventilation. Yeah, I don't know if anybody's had a chance to walk through there.
No,
It smells beautiful in there.
Now, it's been quiet, I've noticed. There was a lot of noise when they started, and since then I really haven't heard them in there at all.
They put the framing up and then they took the week off for Thanksgiving, and the electrician was in there quietly working on a lot of the wiring and ventilation.
Quiet electrician.
He's a very quiet electrician, but he has been really on top of it. He's been here early and working late, so
Okay, good.
put in a lot of work, quietly working.
Quietly, yeah.
Yes.
Rosa, do you feel like it would be helpful to have a subcommittee from this group focused on YFAP expansion planning? You know, kind of like we did with the bathrooms, with actual floor plans and working out details.
Absolutely. Yeah,
And
the bathroom project was very helpful, working with the work group.
Is there not a work group or something, committee or some group of people working on it already? Like, I talked to a couple of people, I thought there was, no.
No, there's not a work group. When we were first looking into the grant and we were going to apply for it, it was just Bobby, myself and Christine. And Nicole from the council, just so that we had everything for that grant, all documents and everything. But as far as planning it out and getting to the point where we can get that planning grant, we don't have any
Okay.
work group on that.
We have the concept of a plan.
Yes,
Yes.
yes, exactly. And I would love to have,
Thank you for that, Darren.
Yeah, no, that's accurate.
let's see.
All right.
Thank you, Rosa. Sounds like a lot's going on.
Yes. And then the sound and lighting is coming along. We're still only pulled up with the sound is where the control panel was not sent. And so we're waiting on that to ship.
Yes.
And then Jeremy will be back. Yeah. So we'll finish up and then,
Is that a subwoofer coming out underneath the stage? Because we discussed it.
and he hasn't removed it just yet, just because he's still waiting on that control for the sound. And so right now we're still relying on the old sound system. So that's connected to that subwoofer.
Oh, is there gonna be a new subwoofer then?
Yes, there's one right on the ceiling.
Oh,
It's beautiful.
oh.
Yeah.
It was used for a Celtic.
It was, but yeah, we're just not there for the rest.
I see.
They had a sound engineer working with them, so he understood the assignment and I haven't had any direction just yet. But we'll be there after it's all completed.
Good stuff.
We'll probably need some help with videos so that everybody is on the
And
same
that
page.
whole back alleyway could be used underneath the stage.
It'll be so nice. I cannot wait.
All right.
Get some stuff out of Route 7. Like those extra tables.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, new business we've actually talked about. Pretty much all this, the 2026 commission goals, which we're gonna finalize next meeting. CIP proposals, which are gonna come out of that. Budget summary.
Just to comment on that real quick, as you're looking at the next person with the, look at financials, I don't necessarily think we need to be having you look at the operational budget stuff, because most of that gets done in our whole budget process, and it's an operational thing, something that you guys are, having to say over. So I think that something that would be more specific would be, of interest to you would be our CIP
Yes.
budget reports.
Yes.
And that's something that we have Neil do once a quarter, and he prepares and updates a CIP spending report and presents it to finance committee and council, and you can share your guys's, you know, with you each.
Yeah, okay, that'd be great.
So take the other one off.
Yeah.
Okay.
And just add up the one that Neil does for city hall or
Quarter.
general fund.
Quarter.
And for ongoing business, we have, again, budget summary, final signage order.
So with that, I was just, because I think we're all just really just left on from last month's
Right.
meeting, but we do have the signage that is ready to go for Prospect Park, it to be installed. So I don't, if you guys all mentioned just rough loosely that you'd like to be a
Yeah.
part of it. So we could either have you physically do it, or we can have you point out to where they want to go and have Public Works physically
So
do
I
it.
have a recommendation.
Yeah.
I think that it would behoove us to get Public Works to bring their auger out and dig the holes for the posts. I mean, we could use a post hole digger, but they've got an auger and then they can just dig a hole in it. And as long as we have the locations marked, and then, you know, I imagine that we have the skills to post in or the concrete around the bases and
I do not, I'd love to help, but that is not in my skill set, but
Pretty
just
sure-
tell me what to do and I'll do it.
put posts in like fence posts. We could do that.
Yeah, I'd be glad to help.
Or we could
I
let
need
Public
somebody
Works
else
do it also. We could just point. You know,
Mike wants to help.
I feel like that's been against all of the things that you guys have been saying you want to do this whole entire time.
Yeah, but it's too late. I'm done.
He's not a member anymore.
I'm done as of today.
It's true, it's true.
Subcommittee work group.
I could.
So we might need ground surveyor to come out and mark if there's something underneath where the posts are gonna go.
Yeah.
Yeah, know that.
Did Public Works.
And that's only a phone call.
Yeah. So the locations are not where they have already been. We're gonna use new locations,
Okay.
I believe. So that means we would need to do.
And Public Works does those locates.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's have Public Works do the initial work and then we and.
Do we know where they're all?
Yeah, we have to, somebody from this group has to walk them through it. And say, this goes here, this goes here, this goes here.
Would you repeat what you said? Was it quite? Survey is in the,
You're talking about
archaeological survey?
No, locations.
You don't get
Drive.
You and you be mindful of where previous lines are, water lines.
Got
So locate.
Locator.
utility location.
That's it.
Miss utility.
Anytime an 811 calls,
Call Miss
it's
utility.
Public Works that, so they will be the ones to do that.
Cool, that works.
But someone from this group, and actually I wasn't on the group that talked about the sign locations originally.
Well, for the,
Somebody who was should be with Public Works and say,
and actually, the smaller signs for the plants don't need posts. We're gonna mount them directly on the railing, I believe, along the boardwalk.
Yeah.
So that is not as involved a project.
no, I was thinking specifically the process.
Okay,
Where they're putting the poles in.
Right. That's what we're talking about, is
oh,
So what I need from you guys is a date, time, when somebody would like to meet with Public Works.
John,
Or
did you-
multiple
were you
people
in
like
that
to meet
group
with
that
Public
looked- that
Works.
did that?
We looked, we.
Prospect Park, we're
we
talking
looked
Prospect
at
Park.
Not, no, we're talking about Prospect. So I believe it was you and Dan and Meg.
Yeah.
And Craig, I believe.
Yeah.
So somebody who's been up there and knows what the plan was should really walk that and point.
We have a document too.
Oh, okay.
but I would also, you have the signs for the plants. Let's,
I do not have the same.
Oh, I thought you did.
No, I only have the Prospect,
Oh,
I have
okay.
ordered the
The wayfinding signs for out here are on
plants.
order also.
Plants.
What about the other signs from
There
here?
are no other
Plants.
signs, they're just plants.
I thought we were gonna have signs at every.
That wasn't even part of that final motion that was made, we just did the plants.
Oh,
Signs.
okay.
And then the signs for Prospect.
Okay.
wanted to get all the signs so that they all matched. And
Okay. I'll dig out that document. I know we.
So I would be glad to help when the actual work. Our piece of the work comes into play.
Okay.
But I will need someone to tell me what to do.
Okay.
Okay, so if you could let me know a time and a place. For Public Works.
Get back to you.
All right. I think.
Is the Peach Park page?
That was just there from last.
Yeah.
Did Lions Club did not
They didn't respond at all on if they wanted to,
on the Peach Park page.
yeah,
I heard,
I really was pushing them to give me an answer, because when we did in our publicity, I wanted to make sure that we had included that they don't.
Yeah,
If they
I've heard-
did, but they didn't respond to that
I
they.
think I heard
wanted to.
from somebody that was like like they needed too short of a timeline or something. I think it was a part of the group, but I know Dave O'Kelly wants to do something, so next meeting that maybe he'll.
Is that still on the table? That money is not spent then?
No, they have money from 75th anniversary that they wanted.
That's what I mean, we have not spent that money, so it's.
Yeah, no, I just
Well,
don't know how much they're.
Yeah, they haven't spent it, but it's not necessarily for us to spend. We can recommend projects, which we did, and then they didn't.
Okay.
Well, so sorry to interrupt. Need some people here to set up for a show later, you want to know?
Yeah, that's me.
1,000. At this point.
Yeah, thank you.
Is that for the meeting tonight?
Yeah, for the jam session. From ice.
No ice.
Yeah, exactly.
Any other?
I don't know anything.
Yeah, so.
There is a flyer on old
Schedule.
board.
So Sally, you're still doing the class. She's doing-
Yes,
Yeah,
we're still
gonna-
Hey, guys, we're still
recording. Yeah, we can't.
And let's talk about.
Thank you.
So we need to take the signs, so like you can come get the signs for me, and you could show them to Public Works, say, this is where we want this sign, this is where we want this sign, this is what we intended for these signs.
So it's a box.
Yeah. And then they can do.
Any other business to discuss? John?
Are there any other potential projects that you'd like the Lions Club to look at for, besides the bench, is there anything else that I could?
Let's hold that discussion for next month,
Okay.
because it'll probably open up.
I would love for
Whole
them to
discussion.
pay for the Peace Park if they'd like.
Okay.
Yeah, the Peace Park bench, yeah, if they, I mean, if that's something that's ready, you know, like done and ready to go, but if. I don't know what to do at
Nothing
this
else?
moment, yeah,
And the new pavilion, if they can.
Yeah. Repair the old pavilion.
We'll repair the old one. Okay, so they just need reimbursement. All right, I just probably gonna have a meeting next week with them. so I
Yeah.
can- Yeah. okay.
The reconstructing the old pavilion was approved, right? That's-
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's a done deal.
Yeah.
So that almost doesn't need to be a goal for us.
Doesn't.
No, we got supposed to do assignments, so you'll go to the city council meeting and discuss our new charter
On the 17th.
17th. Any other takeaways for anybody? That was the only, you will do a walkthrough. Yeah, you do a walkthrough prospect.
John's gonna talk to Lion.
John will talk to the Lions, and we may discuss this again next month. I think that's it for the takeaways. Great, thank you, everyone. Meeting adjourned.
Thanks, Ron. Your last meeting.
Yeah, thank you, Ron. I'm sorry. Thank you, Ron.